This is Bedtime Stories, Grownup Edition, Collateral Damage, Bonus Episode 3. When Q told the Queen Mother that he thinks he knows where Veronica is and he needs to speak with his uncle Idra, she called her best friend Nadia using the deaf relay. Using code, she told Nadia what Q wanted, and Nadia said, "Our plane will land in about 5 hours." When Nadia, Anand, and Idra arrived, Idra was hot when he heard the story, and so was Nadia and Anand. They all wanted to know why this was the first they'd heard of Donovan's children being kidnapped. The Queen Mother said, "Believe me, I certainly wanted to tell you, especially you, Nadia. But I was also concerned that Donovan would end up in a situation and he'd end up owing my family and Andy's." Idris said, "I don't care about none of that." Then he called the Queen Mother's brother Samuel. He said, "We got a problem on our hands. It's all hands on deck, and none of us can charge it to the savant." They all use code when they talked on the phone, or at locations where they couldn't guarantee it wasn't bugged. And over the years, they learned to alter the code as necessary to ensure that it wasn't decoded. So in their code, Q is the heir, Donovan is the savant, and Manny is the one. Samuel said, "I already know all about that situation. No thanks to my sister, but me and the other brother," referring to Pops Andy's brother Nigel, "have already heard from the one. He's on it, and he told us to stand down." When Idra hung up and told the Queen Mother was suspicious. Manny hadn't told her anything, let alone that he'd spoken to Samuel and Nigel. Not to mention, the day before, Maribel was supposed to be on her way to PR, and she was supposed to have a conversation with Manny and let the Queen Mother know what he said, and she hadn't called. Idris said, "Don't worry about it. I'm headed to PR right now. I'll connect with Manny and find out everything he knows. And when I return, I'll be returning with your grandchildren, with no strings attached." Nadia and Anand decided that they would be staying put until this whole situation had been worked out. And before Idra left, Q and LJ pulled him to the side for a private conversation. Q said, "I haven't told anybody else this because I don't want Donovan to find out and run off and do something stupid." When Q and LJ had updated Donovan, they refused to tell him what the fake names were that Veronica had come up with for herself and the children, or what country she went to complete that funds transfer. And Donovan was pissed that they were still keeping information from him. He said, "What y'all trying to do? Help me find my kids or protect Veronica? Y'all not gonna be able to stop me from killing that girl." Q, "I know you used to have a thing for her, but I thought we was past that." Q said, "D, how many times do I have to tell you? Do not get out of hand. This is not about protecting Veronica. This is about protecting you and your kids." Donovan said, "If you think my kids are in danger, you need to tell me everything now." Q said, "Donovan, if I knew where your kids were, I would tell you. But I'd also tie you up and put guards on you first. I do not know where they are. I have a suspicion. And until I confirm, I'm not telling you anything and sending you on a wild goose chase. Let us do the wild goose chasing. That's a part of the job and expected. And we have enough manpower to ensure that wild goose chases won't keep us from being able to follow all possible leads, no matter what direction they point us in. Right now, the leads point in too many different directions, and you don't have the capacity to follow them all. You'll exhaust yourself and put yourself and your children in danger if you run off following each one of them." Then Donovan asked, "Did you have a conversation with MomBrenda? She literally told me not to run behind every lead alone. You told her to talk to me." You said, "No, I didn't tell her anything. I wasn't even the one who told her your kids were missing. You know how she is. And you also know she's right. And you know that I'm not a liar. I'll tell you nothing before I tell you a lie. You're my brother, and I love you. And I'll kill everything moving before I let anybody hurt your kids. And that includes Veronica." Hearing that, Donovan let it go for now. He knew his brother was right, and he also knew that no matter how bad he wanted to find and bring his kids home, he couldn't lose his life in the process. Unless, of course, sacrificing his life would save theirs. Plus, he realized that if all four of the families were in the know, then something had to shake in the next few days at least. So he decided to turn his attention to something else. Maribel. On Sunday, the day before, when Maribel arrived on the island, her first stop was her father's estate. She said, "Papi, I know you. Nothing moves without you knowing. I know that you know where Veronica and those children are." Manny said, "Mija, I'm not going to tell you." Maribel said, "Papi, come on. You've got to tell me something." Manny said, "I'm not going to lie to you. I probably should, but I'm not. I know where they are. I'm trying to extract them now. I haven't decided how to handle Veronica yet, but the situation is delicate. Let me handle this. Don't tell Donovan anything." Maribel said, "But he's going crazy right now. You know how relieved he'll be to at least know that you know where they are?" Manny said, "Mija, you know him, but you don't know him." Maribel said, "Well, tell me where she is, and I'll go there and I'll reason with her." Manny laughed and said, "I tell you and you tell Donovan." Maribel said, "I wouldn't." Manny cut her off and said, "Not intentionally, but his mind is a masterpiece. You'll say or do something, and he'll know too much." Maribel said, "But Papi, I told Queen Bella that I would talk to you and that I would let her know what you said. She needs an update. The family thinks that nothing's developing." Manny said, "She should know me better than that. And this isn't something you discuss over the phone. You should know better than that. And there isn't anything that can't wait until you get back there on Wednesday. As a matter of fact, wait here. I'm going to give you something. When you get back there, give it to her." Then he went into his bedroom and came back with a small jewelry box. He said, "Handle your business here on the island. Go back to Texas on Wednesday. Take care of Angela, support Donovan, and let me handle Veronica and the kids. There are things that you don't know, and players who've inserted themselves, who are dangerous. When you give this to Queen Bella, both she and Pops Andy will know exactly what it means." The following day, on Monday, when Idra flew from Texas to Puerto Rico, he went to Manny's estate and found out that he'd contacted Nigel and Samuel and told them that Donovan's children were missing when he first learned about it. Using code, he made it clear to them that Donovan was off limits. While he belonged to their family, he had his blessing to court his daughter, and he would withdraw that blessing if Donovan got into life. He also said that he'd make it hard for them to do square business in the States, both on the mainland and on the island. As the head of the five, now four families, he had the power to do that. And they had to defer to him to prevent a war and to continue doing square business. But they wasn't no slouches either. They told him that if their niece and nephew weren't found and brought home safe ASAP, they'd do whatever they had to do to help Donovan, and he would owe them. Then Manny told Idra, "I know where they are, and Samuel and Nigel know that I know where they are. They're perfectly fine for now, but it's crucial that we get those kids home ASAP." Then he tells Idra everything that he knows, and the two men put their heads together, devising a plan of action. Early the following morning, Tuesday, Maribel is in her bed fast asleep when she gets a phone call. Groggily, she answers without checking the call ID, and she's surprised to hear Donovan's voice on the other line. Donovan said, "Oh, my bad. I'm sorry, I forgot you're 2 hours ahead of us." Maribel said, "It's fine. I was about to get up in like 30 minutes. Is everything okay?" Donovan said, "Oh, that's right. Your morning run." "No, everything's not all right, but I'm sure it will be. There's been a break in the case." And he gave her a high-level account of what Q and LJ had told him so far and said, "But I'll have to tell you the details in person." Maribel said, "Right. But all of that sounds great, Donovan." Donovan said, "Yeah. So the Queen Mother tells me that you were supposed to have a conversation with your father on Sunday, but she hasn't heard from you yet." Maribel said, "Yeah, and I did, but he wouldn't tell me anything. He gave me something to give her instead and told me that she'd know exactly what it means." Donovan asked, "What did he give you?" Maribel said, "It's for your mother, Donovan. I'll be back early tomorrow morning. She's coming with Angela and Q to Angela's 30-week doctor's appointment, and I'll give it to her then. and you can ask her. And if she's willing to share it with you, that's between you and her. Donovan said, "Come on now, sunshine. Yeah, I want to know what he knows, but so does my mother. We're all on pins and needles here. How about this? If you're not going to tell me, is it possible for you to take a picture and send it?" When Maribel protested because of phone security concerns, Donovan said, "Your brother taught me how to send encrypted messages. He never taught you? You can send the picture in an encrypted message, and as long as you and the other person delete the message and the photo and empty your deleted folder, the message and the photo can be retrieved or recovered." Maribel said, "Actually, he did teach me how to do that when I needed to send patient photos by phone, but I didn't want to violate HIPAA. But does your mother know how to do all that?" When Donovan and Maribel both laughed, Donovan said, "I'll show her how to do it." Maribel relented, and then Donovan went to the kitchen to find the Queen Mother, where she was making breakfast. Donovan told her that Maribel was going to send the encrypted message, and when the message came through, he tried to give her instructions on how to open it. But trying to follow the instructions and cook at the same time wasn't really working out. So, getting frustrated, Donovan said, "Let me see the phone, my dear. Come on." When he opened the picture, he handed the phone to her. She looked at it and said, "Now delete it." And then she watched to make sure that it was deleted. When he was done, he said, "What's the significance of that little thing, my dear?" The Queen Mother said, "That's just Manny's way of letting me know that he's on it. He knows where they are, and they'll be home very soon." Donovan said, "He knows where they are. So that isn't a clue that tells you where they are?" The Queen Mother said, "Donovan, what did I just say?" Donovan said, "I heard you, my dear. But why wouldn't he just tell you where they are if he knows?" The Queen Mother said, "Because I don't need to know where they are. I just need them to come home. When Manny gives me his word, that's enough for me. That needs to be enough for you too. Right now, the four most dangerous families in the world are working together to bring your children home. They'll be here before you know it. You want some breakfast?" Donovan said, "No, I want my children." Then he stormed out of the room. The Queen Mother didn't even realize that she just told Donovan that his uncles were involved, and she had no idea that he knew exactly what that little thing was in the picture. When he left the room, she looked at Pop's Andy and signed two letters, D.R. The picture was of an amulet made out of larimar, a rare gem quality blue pectolite that can only be found in one location, the Dominican Republic. The amulet itself belonged to the deceased head of the Ramirez family. The Queen Mother had taken it off his neck right after she killed him more than 30 years earlier. She'd given it to Manny when he flew to New York to see her in the hospital after she escaped from captivity at the hands of the Ramirez family. What Donovan and his family doesn't know is that Manny's people been tracked Veronica. They tracked her when she left her house with the fake bruises and black eye and went to Abdul's house that night. They followed her to the hotel, the rental car, and back to the hotel. What they didn't see was her trip to the bank, Walmart, the estate, and back to the hotel because they were too busy getting a tracker that they could put on the rental car. So Manny's reaction to finding out that Veronica had kidnapped the kids was authentic. His men had no clue that the kids were in the vehicle as it traveled across the country because they were tracking it remotely. They tracked her to Minneapolis, and when she returned the vehicle, they had a man follow her all around town. By then, Manny had been told that she had the kids, so his men stayed on her. They followed her to the low-budget hotel where she made a reservation without a credit card or ID. They tracked her to the forger and got copies of those passport photos. And Zoe had already tracked the passports on Manny's behalf before Q and LJ had ever learned about them. So when Idra confronted Manny and PR on Monday, and Manny told Idra everything, Idra was relieved.